Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Saturday Morning Coffee with Back to Basics Dog Training. For those of you who are joining me for the first time or repeat customers, excuse me, I'm Leon. I'm the head trainer here over at Back to Basics Dog Training. And each and every Saturday morning, I bring you this live free Q&A session where I sit here and I answer all your dog training questions. No questions are off limits, so you can ask me anything as far as the behaviors of your dogs, and it's always a pleasure to answer them and give you guys the best of my ability to help you have that happy, balanced dog that you always wanted. With that being said, if you're watching now live, please put a comment down. Let me know you're watching, where you're watching from. And if you're watching later on the replay, please put your comments down. Let me know that you caught me on the replay and where you caught the replay from. Last week, we had a great turnout, some really great questions. We actually had somebody visiting us at I think it was about 1 o'clock in the morning in Australia, which was phenomenal to see that. So we're getting out there worldwide, which is my goal, guys. That's why I ask you each and every week, please share this information. This platform can go out worldwide. We can help dogs around the world and around the country. Um, if we can do that, then we're helping me live up to my dream of helping one dog and one family at a time. So I need you guys to do me a favor and share this platform. But with that being said, we're going to continue on with our subject of last week, which was, with the holidays coming up, we have some dogs that may not be the best at having, visitors come to their home, be it over excitement, jumping on them, barking crazily, stealing food because we want to put out hors d'oeuvres around the holiday. And there are things we can do now before the holidays that can start desensitizing the dogs to these common things, especially when it comes to the counter surfing and the stealing the food off the coffee table or the snack tables or whatever. We're putting food around, kids running around with food, and the dogs stealing the food. Um, so we're going to talk a little bit about how to start desensitizing the dogs to those stimulus that's going to, let's face it, food. They're going to go for it. They're going to want it. They're going to want to eat it. So what you can do now in now between now and the holiday season, when you're going to start having people come over and hopefully having some parties in your homes and enjoying being with one another, um, is what you want to do is start today. Get some food, put it on the coffee table, put it on the floor, even put it on the counters. Things you know where your dog is going to say, "Oh, food, yay, let me get it." And as always, I do suggest doing a lot of things on leashes. It just makes it a lot easier to control them. But what you do is you put the food on the coffee table and you watch. Good morning. And yes, giving dogs food. Absolutely, Cindy. Good morning. Hope all is well up in Long Island. Yeah, and you got to definitely great points, Cindy. But tell your guests not to feed your dogs food. It's not okay. It's not good to feed them people food. A lot of the foods we eat, one, are not healthy for dogs. Hell, they're not healthy for us. Um, so you want to encourage your guests, please do not feed the dogs. Don't accidentally drop food for the dogs. That's a great point. Um, but and as family members, we shouldn't be giving people food to dogs other than if you want to give healthy foods to your dogs in their bowls, not from the table, not from the couch, not from any place else but their bowls, so they get used to not being able to just get food whenever they look for you. Oh my God, you got a sandwich. Oh, here, you're so cute. Here, no. If you're going to give them your leftovers, please put it in their bowls. Get them used to, okay, you want to eat, you're going to eat from your bowl. Oh, the little thing to stop me from reclining fell out. Um, so again, what you want to do is set your dogs up for success. So you're going to put food on the coffee table, and you're going to sit there, and you're going to, if the dog gets too close to it, I'm ready to get it. Boom, no. And if you have the leash on, you can make a quick pop of the leash for the corrective measure with the firm but fair no. No anger, no frustration, no nonsense. And when you pop that leash, you say no, or if you just say no, clap your hands, snap your fingers, whatever, to unlock the dog's brain. So the dog says, "Oh, I'm not allowed to get that close to that temptation." And you can create a boundary. What you're trying to create is a boundary around the coffee table, the snack tables, the counter, the kitchen table, whatever, wherever the dog would go to get the food. And if you do this consistently and you stay consistent with it and you stay fair with it, I know it sounds like, well, we're teasing the dog. And the way you can avoid that, so you don't feel the human guilt on that, is first, whatever snacks or whatever you're going to put out there, if they're healthy for the dog, after the dog goes through the exercise, if you want, you can take it and then you can reward them by putting the food in the bowl and letting them have it. This way, they learn the only way they can get that is one, when you give it to them, and two, it'll be put in their bowl. It desensitizes them. I know I've had parties in my house with multiple dogs, and we'll put food out all over the place, and the dogs know they're not allowed to touch that food. Period. End of discussion. And I did this when I was up on Long Island, and we used to board. Christmas, the holiday season was busy for me boarding. People were going away visiting family, so I had their dogs. Now their dogs are not necessarily dogs I trained, but I established the rules instantly. So when we had people come over and we had guest dogs, as we like to call them, they knew the rules, and my dogs helped set those rules. Because my dogs, I can put food on my coffee table, they're not going to even think about touching it. And I've taken it so far with my personal dogs where I'll put food on the floor. And just because it's on the floor doesn't mean it's theirs. They're not allowed to take food unless it's in their bowl, or the other way is if I hand it to them. I don't let them pick it up off the floor when I'm working with them. If I'm going to give them what I'm putting on the floor, I'm going to pick it up and hand it to them. So they learn a couple of things that way. One, they're never allowed to take food off the floor, off the table, off the counter, whatever. They're never, they only get the food is if I hand it to them or if I put it in their bowl. So I hope this makes sense. Again, guys, put in your comments that you understand what we're talking about so we can make sure we're all on the same page. So this way we can help you guys have more enjoyable holiday season. Good morning, Phyllis, from Brooklyn, New York. We've been watching your recorded for most part of a long time. First time live. Yay, welcome to the live. So again, Phyllis, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions to help you and Junior. Have that, like I said, it's hard to see. I'll move out of the way. I'm 100% committed to bring your dog back to balance. And I mean that. And balance is having that nice, smooth life together where we're not stressing over some of the little things that our dog's behaviors create. And, life is stressful enough. So the last thing I want is my dog to create stress for me. So by learning how to work within Mother's Nature's balance together, we have balanced dogs. That's what they want from us. They don't want to have that free for all where I can get away with doing whatever I want. They want these strict rules, boundaries, and limitations, so they know where they stand in our pack, and that's the biggest thing is understanding where they stand in the pack. And again, the same thing. We talked about having food out and the dog teaching the dogs it's not okay to take the food. And that can start today, guys. That doesn't have to wait till you have people over your house. Start that today. Have the snacks, put them on the table, make some hors d'oeuvres, whatever, put them on the table and create your boundary. When I do it with my dogs, I create a 3-foot boundary around where the food source is going to be. That's in my mindset. That's what came to my mind years ago. Is 3 feet is respectful boundary. We don't have to do social distancing and do 6 feet. 3 feet. They can come within 3 feet of where that food source is, and then I'm going to stop them because they're going to learn. Oh, okay, this is as far as I'm allowed to go when that food is out there. And if you stay consistent, consistency is the key to all this. They will get it. I know I've done it with my dog Zoe, where I put food on the floor to the point where she'll lay down on the floor, go to sleep while that food source is still there. So she won't even look at the food anymore that's on the floor. She understands she's not my vacuum cleaner. She doesn't need to clean up after me. If I drop food, I'm going to pick it up myself. And that's the other mistake we make is, we're making dinner or whatever, food falls on the floor. Go ahead, go get it, find out. And we're encouraging them to have a behavior we really don't want because the food is they're able to take the food off the floor. And where I find the hard time with dogs taking food off the floor is when there's little kids involved. Because let's face reality, the 5 second rule is out the window with kids. If they drop something, they're going to pick it up. They're going to want it. They're running around with the Cheerios or whatever, and they drop the Cheerios, they're going to reach to pick it up. And if your dog's conditioned that they're allowed to become the vacuum cleaner, they're going to see the Cheerio hit the floor because face reality, dogs follow kids around because they know kids drop things. They the child goes to reach for the food that they dropped on the floor, and the dog goes to reach for it at the same time. And I hate to say it, 90% of the times the dogs are quicker. They get there as the hand is there, and then the child ends up with a nip or something, and then we have a bad dog. We don't have a bad dog. We have a dog that doesn't know any better. It's an unwanted behavior, not a bad behavior, and there's ways to fix it. And you have to desensitize them to them. And that's dropping food on the floor and saying, no, you're not allowed to pick it up. The other big issue, of course, when we have the holiday season is having guests get into our house without our dogs annoying us or annoying them by jumping on them and barking and trying to be the center of attention. So again, how do you do that? You set them up. Good morning, Maria. Welcome back, I guess. Welcome back to New York. You and Mike, miss you guys. So if you don't want your dog jumping on your guests, you don't want your dog barking at your guests, and you don't want your dog annoying your guests when you have people come over. Desensitize them. Teach them that has to represent calm. Oh, excuse me. So what do I mean by that? How do we do this? Right now, today, if it's nice out, even if it's not nice out, put your dog on a leash. Have somebody go and knock on the front door, ring the doorbell, whatever the normal routine is in your home. And when your dog gets excited and wants to bolt to the door, hey, hey, somebody's here. Stop them. And that's why you need the leash. And you're going to be, no, that sound now represents a different state of mind. That sound does no longer represent excitement. I'm not saying don't bark. I'm not saying hide from it. What I'm saying is don't bum rush the door. I do this all the time. We have neighbors knocking on our door here constantly. It happened last night. Zoe does her job. Somebody knocks on the door. She barks. She goes to the door. I have no problem with it. I get to the door. I tell her to move and have her sit at 6 to 10 feet away from the door, depending on what's going on. And she's not allowed to bum rush the door to greet the person knocking at the door. Her job is to warn me somebody is here. That's not enough. Woof, woof, woof. That's her job. She's my alarm system. She barks. I'm okay with her barking to tell me, hey, somebody's here. But I don't want her, when I'm trying to open the door, trying to get out the door to greet that person. Because some people, unfortunately, have fear of dogs. Um, if there's a little child there and Zoe runs out too fast at 60 pounds, she can knock that child over. Um, I hate to say it, we have some elderly people here. If she bum rushes them, she could probably knock them over. Um, she's a strong dog. So the last thing I want her to do is think it's okay for her to go greet that guest before I do. So what I do is I move her back. She has to sit. I will not open the door. I will not even touch the doorknob until she's sitting, looking at me and saying, hey, what's next? Now she knows to stay. I gotta open the door. If she gets up at any point like that, I'm like, excuse me 1 second, sit. And I readdress her. She's not allowed to move forward until I give her permission. This way, when she greets that guest, then she may greet them out in the hallway or on the stoop in your house, whatever. She goes to them in a calmer state of mind so they can come into the house without worrying about being knocked over. She doesn't jump on them. She doesn't bum rush them. She comes over to them and greets them in a calmer state of mind, which puts people at ease, makes it easier for them, and we're able to move forward. So again, guys, I hope this makes sense because it's so important. I hear it all the time. I can't have people over my house. My dog acts like an idiot, blah, blah, blah. And there's no reason for it. So again, how you can set them up for success is have a leash handy, have somebody ring your doorbell, knock on the door. You put the leash on the dog. The dog is going to run to the door. You're going to put the leash on the dog. You're going to move the dog to a safe space where you will be able to invite your guests in without the dog jumping on them. And if you put them in a sit position or stay position, and when you go to reach for the doorknob, if they get up, you readdress them and you work on rewarding the calm. Don't open the door if they're excited, because what you're doing is rewarding their excitement. And if you reward their excitement, basically you're saying it's okay to do this. When you really in your head say it's not okay. My guests are uncomfortable. I can't have people in my house. You know, how many of you guys have heard stories or gone to people's homes that the dogs are so annoying that they put the dog up into a bedroom or into a bathroom or something and put them in the basement or whatever just to get people to come into their homes? It's no way. The dog doesn't want to do that. And that can create such a negative effect on your dog's psychology. Every time somebody comes here, I get locked up. Every time somebody comes here, I get locked up. Well, hell, I'm not going to like people coming here. And that's when we start creating some other worse unwanted behaviors. No, your dog is part of your pack. They should be there, but they have to respect how you want them to be. But you have to teach them. Remember, I say it week in, week out. Dogs by nature are wild animals. Yes, we have domesticated them. We expect them to behave in a certain way. Well, you can't expect them to behave a certain way if you don't teach them how to behave a certain way. Same way you raise your children, we raise our children. We have to teach them how to be react certain ways in certain situations, and we have to guide them through that journey. So when they're adults, they understand, and then they can teach their kids, and so on and so forth. But with the dogs, we have to teach them how we want them to coexist in our world. If we don't want the excitement, we have to teach them how to be calm, and that's how to teaching them that the only time that we're going to reward them is when their state of mind is calm. So that comes to if I'm feeding a dog, if a dog is sitting there excited to be fed, oh my God, food, 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 and you got the drool coming out, I'm not going to feed that dog. Because if I feed them in that state of mind, I'm rewarding that state of mind. If somebody comes to the door and my dog is excited and I open the door, I'm giving them the prize behind door number one and I'm rewarding that excitement. And I never, ever want to reward excitement. I want to reward calm. It's a much, much better state of mind. And the calmer they are, the more they're going to look at me for guidance. And remember, we need those three C's of dog training: calm, confidence equals control. So if I'm calm and I'm confident in what I'm doing, I have control. And that works in life. If I'm calm in a situation and I'm confident in that situation, I have control of that situation. Think about how things work. Think about our first responders. Think about all that. That's what they teach. But our dogs understand that energy because that's what this is all about, guys. It's the energy. If somebody comes to my door and I'm like, oh my God, my dog, somebody's here. I got to control the dog. I got to do this. I got to do that. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, my dog's going to jump up. Guess what? You're just feeding into that frenzy, and that's how they're going to be. But if you change that narrative and say, oh, somebody's here, great. I need you to be calm so I can get them in the house and I'm in control. I'm not asking you to be calm. I'm pretty much telling you without the I'm telling you. They get it. They understand it quicker than most humans do. That could be taken to any situation in your dog's life. That could be taken to a walk. That could be taken to a car ride, going out in public. If you learn to reward the calm, they understand it. If you reward the excitement, you get excitement. If you reward fear, that's what you get. It was last week we had somebody asking me a question regarding a dog that was a breeding dog for 5 years, I think it was. And the dog is terrified of everything. And it's heartbreaking when you see that and you hear about it. I know for me personally, it breaks my heart every single time I hear those horror stories and we hear the dog's past and we know what they went through and we feel bad for them because they're afraid of things. And when they get afraid of that noise because they're not used to it, or a human, because breeding dogs face reality, let's face reality, they're not interacting with humans that much. And when they are, it usually isn't a pleasant experience for them. So they're fearful of humans, they're fearful of environmental things, they're fearful of other dogs sometimes, they're fearful of everything. And what do? we try to soothe them in that unsure state of mind. And it was hard for me to talk last week about it because I know I sounded non-caring, because I said you got to stop living in the past and you got to start learning to reward the little victories and stop feeling bad for this dog that's terrified of everything. Because what happens is when we feel bad for them, we don't move them forward. So when I work with dogs that are that fearful, and I've worked with dogs that were close to feral that you ever wanted to deal with, is when they're in that shutdown, fearful mode, I guide them forward. I don't stay there with them. And I know what I'm doing is there for their benefit. So right then and there, I do not feel bad for them because I'm looking at what we're giving them today. So we'll do an example: dog running the streets, and for 2 years, 3 years, whatever it may be, and they finally rescued him, and the dog doesn't know how to live inside, and it's fearful of this and fearful of that. If you live in that past, you're going to keep them in that fearful state. What I try to do, and I do, and I try to convince my fellow dog lovers is look at what we're giving them today. Look at what we're giving them. Why would I worry about it? Like I tried to explain to the people last week about this dog that was a breeding dog. I don't feel bad for that dog. I look at the dog and I'm proud and I say, oh my God, look at for 5 years you lived like this, but you survived. You beat it. You are the champ. Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. Not, oh my God, you poor baby, look what you went through for 5 years. It's the same theory. And I use always with our parvo all the time. She almost died, but she lived. Same thing, different energy. Your energy is going to make it. And that's those 3 C's that I try to drill in every week. Calm, confidence equals control. If you're calm and you're confident in that situation, you're going to be in control, and that control will allow you to move forward and continue this journey of training with your dog. It is so crucial to them, and they understand it, and you don't need to verbalize it. That's the beauty. You don't need to explain to that puppy mill dog why they shouldn't be afraid. Don't try to explain it because they're not going to understand the words. What they're going to understand is, hey, trust me, have confidence in me. I'll be calm. I'll be in control. You're going to have with confidence, and you're going to trust me to guide you to the next step. And the more you do it, the more repetition, the more consistency that you do these things, one thing at a time with these fearful dogs, you will see they move forward. Our issue is that Junior is fearful and somewhat reactive outside, but not in the house. He was rescued approximately 3.5 years old. Okay, so if Junior is fearful and somewhat reactive outside, what I tell you to do is, of course, go to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, go to the playlist, How to Leash Train My Dog in 5 Easy Steps. It's all about rewarding the calm every step of the walk. And I have a dog I work with not too long ago that's the same thing. It's pretty good in the house, a little fearful of strangers still. It was definitely a feral dog when people rescued him. His reactions outside were definitely based on fear. Um, so what we did is we slowed the whole process down, and we stayed at distances where we knew it was safe, where he can start seeing dogs from a distance. I don't know what he's reacting to outside, so maybe you need a little bit more clarity as the dogs or as the people. And what I do when I deal with dogs that show these reactivities outside is I do things. I start at a distance and I slowly close the distance. I don't bum rush the dog. If it's fearful of people, the biggest mistake people make is, I'm good with dogs. It's okay, fella. I'm not, buddy, Junior, I'm not going to hurt you. And dogs like telling you, hey, I ain't comfortable with this. Get the hell out of my face. So what you have to do is start at a distance. So if it's fearful of people, just using that as an example, I would meet a friend on a walk, and I would start watching my dog. As my friend is coming towards me, I would start watching Junior. And as soon as I see any change in Junior's normal happy-go-lucky prance, I would make a correction there. Not a hard correction, just no. There's no reason to react to this person 20 feet away. There's just no reason for it. And then ask them to do something. Ask them to sit. Start it from a distance. Don't wait for the reaction. Don't wait for the fear. Start it before it has a chance to build up. And when you're working with him and you're doing this, okay, now you see he's had dogs, people, and noises. Okay, so you want to do things slowly. Noises, I would definitely say desensitize outside in the yard or in the house. Play truck. You can download truck sounds. You can, car sounds, motorcycle sounds. Download and play them at a low volume. Get them to understand that the motorcycle represents calm at a low volume, then slowly increase the volume. And again, don't make a big deal out of his reactions if he's fearful. Wait till you get to the calm. When you get to the calm, praise, 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 treat, 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 whatever works. Um, but I've done this with dogs that are terrified of fireworks and thunder. I downloaded sounds on the phone, and what I do with them is I play the sounds at the lowest volume, and if they react, I have them on a leash, and I'm going to tell them I don't agree with you reacting out of fear, and I will wait them out until they become calm. When they become calm, yay, good boy, good girl, praise, treat. They'll just slowly increase the volume and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. If I get to a comfortable level, I don't sit there and put it on 100. As far as people and dogs, that you can definitely set up for success easier. Most of the time when I'm dealing with reactivity on a leash, the reason it's so hard to control the reaction is we wait for the explosion. Then we start trying to correct. It's too late. Way, way too late. If you let the dog explode, it's very, very hard to try to control because its mind is gone. So again, using the dog I worked with not too long ago that is reactive to dogs, not so much people, more dogs, is I went to a dog park area where there's a nice walking area. There's a dog park on one side. We didn't go into the dog park, but we hung out around the dog park. So the dog was observing other dogs coming through. And what I started doing with them is, as I saw a dog approaching one, I didn't say, "Oh my God, dog's approaching! What do I do?" No, I went, "Great, dog's approaching! My opportunity." Different energy, same theory. Um, and then I started observing my dog. I started watching the dog I was working with, Toby. Toby was the dog. And if I saw any change in Toby's demeanor, and with him, it was he got very stiff. And once I saw that, boom, nope, sit. And at first, it took a couple of times for him to understand. Oh, I don't need to react to this person that I just or dog I saw 10, 15 feet away, because when he was doing it from 10, 15 feet away, the biggest problem he had is he was using his eyesight. I see a dog. He barely was breathing, it seemed like, But as I got through to his mind and he started becoming calmer by rinse and repeat theory, also I started seeing the nose go. I can't make my nose wiggle, but you get the point. And then I started seeing him from a distance. He was trying to get the smell, the sense of the other dog or the other person, and that stopped his reaction. Once he started using his most important sense, which is his sense of smell. Eyesight is not that important to the dog. So if they react from eyesight, that's when we get reaction. But the key is, Phyllis, is try to look for the slightest change when you're outside in public and you see some noises are hard because they come out of nowhere. That's why I said try to desensitize some of the noises inside that frighten him. But as far as dogs or people, you're walking and he's got that happy-go-lucky prance because nobody's around. All of a sudden somebody's there with a dog. Don't tense up. Still hold your leash. Don't hold your leash. Hold your leash. Start watching them. As soon as you see a little change in that walk, usually the ears are the best sign, guys. Or when they're walking, you can see them sniffing. All of a sudden they stop and they get stiff. That's when you make your correction. Catch it down here instead of up here. Boom. No, sit. Get your dog to learn to focus on you. Get Junior to focus on you. And then make sure everything's at a safe distance. You stay relaxed. You breathe in the roses, blow out the candles. And what you want to see is them passing, Junior staying in a good state of mind because we caught him early. And then once that dog passes, as long as he's not looking over his shoulder, so where'd that dog go? Once he's done it, he praise, treat, bring. If he's food motivated, guys, and we did this with Toby. Toby, we brought some boiled chicken. He loves chicken. His reward for not reacting was chicken. And it took maybe half hour, 45 minutes of constant working with. At one point, I had the mom working with him, and she didn't correct quick enough, so I ended up having to take the leash. But he was already up here. It was harder for me to get him under control. And when I did, he threw a temper tantrum. Yeah, if he's food motivated, bring high valued foods. And I'm not talking about milk bones. I'm talking about real food, cheese, boiled chicken, something healthy. Um, Low sodium hot dogs work. He's good when we leave the house, but changes as we walk, especially when we get closer to home coming back. So when you get closer coming back, if he changes, stop. Because if he's changing, he's trying to control that portion. And it's that safety factor. And I understand why some dogs do that. All right, let's get back in there. I was just outside in the scary world. No, but there should be nothing scary. There's no reason to rush back to the home or whatever it may be. If he starts reacting differently when you're walking home, stop, regroup, continue. Take the time, take the effort. It is so worth it. Because again, if you can control, and a lot of people have a hard time controlling that return home part of the walk because we misinterpret it. Oh, they're excited to be home. Yay, okay, let's go. No, we're in a travel mode. We're going someplace. You're going to be calm. Or in Toby's case, it's probably, oh my God, I was in the outside world. When I see my house, let's get back in there. I'm safe. It's my safety zone. No, your safety zone, Toby, not Toby, I'm sorry, Junior, is wherever I am. When I'm with you, you're always safe. But you have to believe that too. So if Junior starts changing on that way home, stop, regroup, continue. And it may take, I've worked with some dogs that are so bad that I get 2 steps, I have to stop, regroup, take 2 steps, stop, regroup, stop. It is what it is. But after you do it and you stay consistent, you stay consistent, you stay consistent, they get it. They get it. But it's also learning the whole entire walk has to be calm. So the moment you put the leash on, to the threshold management, to the structure of the walk, to the recess part of the walk, to the return home part of the walk. Everything has to be based on the same state of mind, which is calm, no fear, no excitement. We're traveling, we're going from point A to B. And just change the narrative. Change the narrative. And also for some of those dogs that had that thing about going back home, a lot of times when I was doing my return walk home with them, I'd pass the house. Hey, just because we went this way doesn't mean we're going back there. So again, I'm more in control of that walk, which is the 3 C's: calm, confidence equals control. So if they're trying to get back to the house because they're fearful or excited, no, we're not going to go back there. We're going to pass it. And then when I'm ready, we're going to come back. Does that make sense, Phyllis? Because if you do these things in baby steps, guys, that's why I call it the journey of dog training. Things are done in baby steps. Don't try to build a skyscraper in a day. It's never going to happen. Pick one thing. That's why I said work the sounds inside, work the other things outside. Try to do it where you can set her, Junior up for success by inviting a friend or a relative or a neighbor or whatever that has a dog that he's reactive to, or just a dog in general, and work at a safe distance. We've done this. I've done this hundreds of times. I wish I would get it on videotape, but it's hard to videotape things when I'm working. And I'm dating myself by saying videotape. Um, is when I worked with some dogs, we'd be on the opposite sides of the street and we would just keep going back and forth, passing each other, and slowly but surely increase the gap till I was walking, the dogs together. Um, it's desensitizing. It's not force feeding it. It's not shoving it down their throats. It's desensitizing them to what is creating this unwanted behavior. And the worst thing we can ever do is say, why is my dog doing this? It doesn't matter why. Doesn't. You just don't like it. Let's fix it. Don't do the what ifs. That's the second worst thing. What if? What if my dog sees another dog? Well, what if it doesn't? Thank you for the guidance. I heard this before here, but not directly to our issues. I'm working with him on this at home. He is a gentle, as you said, gentleman, as you said. Absolutely. So now we just got to bridge that gap to the outside world. We teach our kids, you're allowed to act one way in the house. Outside, you have to act a different way. Dogs should act the same no matter what. Inside voices at all times for dogs is a good thing. But it starts with us, guys. Calm confidence equals control. So the more you trust yourself, the more, in this case, Junior will trust you, Phyllis. Trust yourself. Trust your instincts, folks. What I work on. Work on my instincts. What feels right at that moment, I work with what I got. And with like the dog Toby that I worked with in the dog park, he did throw that temper tantrum. And I was actually grateful that he did because once he threw that temper tantrum, and he was not thrilled with me. Believe me, he wasn't thrilled with me. The next three or four dogs passed, no reaction whatsoever because he did everything that he thought he should do. Wasn't allowed to. Didn't get punished for it. Didn't get yelled at. Didn't. Nothing happened. I stayed who I am. I'm calm. Oh, the dog passed. Nothing bad happened to me. Oh, a dog passed. Nothing bad happened. A dog passed. Nothing bad happened. It was beautiful because he had no reaction. He looked at me. Actually, he looked at me for like, "Did I do good?" And when I see that, man, praise, praise, praise. And in his case, chicken, chicken, chicken. And I have no problem with that because it tells him what he did was so good. So, fellas, if Junior is food motivated, bring some broiled chicken out there. Don't season, please. Like I said, low sodium hot dogs. And when he doesn't react, yes, praise. So on that note, because I always love leaving things on high notes, guys. Uh, as always, I am so grateful that you guys invite me into your home each and every Saturday morning. It does my heart wonders. Um, but if there are no further questions, we're going to wrap it up for the weekend. Let you guys get yourselves prepared for the holidays. Start conditioning your dogs to be ladies and gentlemen that we want them to bring. Be as committed as I am to bringing your dogs back to balance. That's 100% committed. So, with that being said, guys, as always, thank you for inviting me into your homes each and every Saturday morning. There'll be some changes coming in the new year, but I will post them out on my Facebook page and let you guys know about that as well. But as always, stay healthy, stay safe, God bless, and remember, where is it? There it is. Together, we can help one dog and one family at a time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys, and we'll see you next Saturday.